Hi, I'm making this video for guidance, to offer guidance to people, because, you know, there's so much of the truth freely available now, and let's face it, you know, who can deny the evidence that we're being ruled by a set of psychopathic, idiotic, pseudo-fascists, pedo-pseudo-fascists? You know, that's what's up there at the top. And they are running the banking system, and of course the banking system that we have running at the moment is feeding exactly that type of consciousness, because what would you expect from a consciousness that has usurped universal law, jar law, our law, life law, okay, and replaced it with their criminal maritime law, which basically, you know, we're all a ship at sea and we're all stock owned by, under care and control of captain of the ship. We're all dead, by the way, as well. Well, I'm hoping to raise the dead. I'm hoping to wake you up, okay? And while it is necessary to look at the problems and to understand them, because if you don't understand the problem, you're not really going to accept the solution, you see. Now, here is one solution to a very serious problem. Nobody's accepting this solution. You won't hear any MPs mention them. You won't hear any child charity, you know, child abuse charity in Britain mention them, okay? But these are the answer, EU Child Protection Directives. They can be improved, but the way they stand at the moment, they're good enough for the purpose that they've been created for by people who've thoroughly looked at the problem of child sexual abuse and who understand how to act lawfully, and they've devised a lawful system of not just protecting children from abuse, but preventing crimes against children, okay? That's the prime directive, is to prevent crimes against children. So basically, they operate on a no smoke without fire principle, okay? You see smoke, you go and check that to see if there's a fire or not, because at the end of the day, you've got children at risk, and if one child's at risk, countless children could be at risk. So it's very important to check it out, and the more power the suspected child abuser has over children, then the more of a danger that person is. So, according to EU Child Protection Directives as they now stand, let's take, for example, the evidence of Pizzagate. You've got emails, you've got the FBI identified paedophile symbols and terminology, okay? Well, they are present in the emails. And then on top of that, you've got the added evidence of, you know, the Podesta brothers' taste in art, and also Alafante's, their close friend, pizza shop owner's taste in art, and and looking at the photos he's put on his Instagram page, that is all evidence enough to warrant thorough investigations, immediate thorough investigations. Because there have been no thorough investigations, you've got this, you know, entourage of online people discussing all kinds of things and digging up all bits of this, bits of that information. There's even, you know, they're suggesting that people have been murdered, certain individuals have been murdered now that have got associations with the criminal names, associated with this alleged criminal activity. But the alleged criminal activity, there's enough lawful suspicion there. These would count as lawful suspicion. But nobody wants to hear about child protection directives. Children's charities don't want to hear about child protection directives. British MPs don't want to hear about child protection directives. And we're having this inquiry in Britain at the moment, you know, independent inquiry into child sexual abuse. We don't need it. We really do not need it. Why has this country just spent millions and millions on having this inquiry, inviting people like myself to take part in it, only to have my PTSD seriously re-triggered? Nothing at all being done to the people that have abused me. Okay? And instead, just nothing at all is done. No investigations into social services that knew about paedophile activity from when I was a child and decided to do nothing about it, but instead tried to get me to, quote, rebuild a relationship with my abuser. Okay? So that's the kind of shit that is going on. We've got a country up in arms about Jimmy Savile, but, you know, do they want to implement these? Are they interested in these? No. They just want to talk about Jimmy Savile. They want sleaze and dirt and gossip, because it's all a bit of, what is it? What is a country that's up in arms about Jimmy Savile that can't support these? Because without these, that's why Jimmy Savile got away with all his crimes, because these weren't implemented. Because this country, Britain, doesn't operate on a no smoke without fire principle when it comes to child abuse. Okay? A child's testimony isn't considered evidence enough for investigations. A child's testimony with confirming medical evidence isn't enough for one arrest of named suspects. Details of abusers' genitals, named abusers' genitals, it isn't enough to warrant an arrest and investigation with the child witness testimonies, not just one, but two child witnesses corroborating independent testimonies. Instead, British police removed the children from the parent that was trying to protect them and get help for them, and then thereafter elicit retractions, which even the Independent Police Commission uphold as being led. They are led, there's no doubt about it. You can go and watch them online. They are led. They don't match, unlike the original allegations. Nonetheless, nothing to see here. Move on. Of course, London authorities aren't full of sadistic, baby trafficking, baby murdering, so-called satanic, stroke sadistic child abusers. London authorities are not full of those. People in positions of power and authority in Britain do not get together in gangs and groups and abuse children. That does not happen. The MP report stating that organised sexual abuse of children in Britain is widespread. They were obviously they got it totally wrong, hadn't they? We don't need these. Let's spend another 20 years pontificating about what to do about child sexual abuse in Britain when we've got these, and they should have been implemented. This year they should have been starting to be implemented. But that's okay, it doesn't really matter, because we're out of the EU now, so we can forget about EU child protection directives, can't we? I mean, as far as I'm concerned, every child on the planet should be protected by these, and any country that can't provide them isn't a country worth trading with or having anything to do with whatsoever. Okay? If I was the Prime Minister of Britain, any country that had not implemented these, I would not be trading with them, no matter what they sold. But you know, we're living in a world that judges the child, legally defines a human child as a minor human being, a lesser, inferior, unimportant human being. So, of course, why should we give them child protection directives? At the end of the day, alright, so they might get fucked about with as a child. Get over it. If you're not strong enough to get over it, and you fall apart and your life's ruined as a result, then you were a weak person, and, you know, who cares about you anyway? Let's face it, the MP is far more important. The educational child psychologist is a far more important figure than this little child that they've abused. Now, another solution is this, the Bank of Joy, and it's been set up by these people, okay? And some people might recognise Ronald Bernard, and I'll leave his link under here. Absolutely amazing guy. I think he established this organisation in the first place. He was a top financier. He was invited into the top echelons of the financial world, and the price was to participate in ritual child sacrifice, and he said no. And at that point he stepped out, he's exposed them, and he set up this alternative banking system, and it's absolutely brilliant. And as I say, when you understand the problem of the banking system, then you understand why we need this. Now, professional people of the world, Zionists, financiers, I don't care what you are, okay, you're probably working for the thoroughly evil system. You're probably an evil person, really, with the way you live in and what you think and what you believe. So, you know, my plea is, remove yourself from evil and start supporting something good. Invest in this, okay? Central to our vision is a good stewardship of all life. This vision is based on the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. This describes a world of abundance and peace. In our mission, we are working on developing and promoting ecological and innovative financial products and services which are exclusively dedicated towards serving society. This includes the introduction of the URA as a new currency and natural growth as revenue. Now, I'm a big supporter of Michael Tellinger's Ubuntu in South Africa, which again, they're committed to more or less the same thing, a life in abundance, upholding our human rights, and, you know, they would like us to live in a cash-free society, which ultimately we will as we start realising the truth of our universal light-being selves, of our eternal light-being self, and the fact that we are, most of us, reincarnated again and again into life on earth. Okay, but you know, the universal consciousness is very kind, most merciful, most compassionate, and takes everything into account. And the fact is that until we reach that point where we've established a universal law of abundance and compassion, which thoroughly upholds our human rights and earth rights and animal rights, then we need the transition period, because everybody is now enslaved to this money consciousness, and you know, it is really impossible to just end that right now, because this consciousness just is not ready for it. So we need a transitionary period, and this bank is the perfect solution that will facilitate an ethical money supply that will fund and invest in ethical innovations, ethical business interests, like for example hemp farming, which every country really could become self-sustainable just on hemp and all the products that you can make from hemp, from clothes, shoes, building materials, animal feed, oil to cook with, oil to run your car with, or your generator with, highly nutritious food, fertilizer, you name it, all can be created from hemp. And the kind of industry that's needed to do that is itself ecologically friendly. So we need investments into that. We need the taxes removed from hemp. We need the decriminalisation of marijuana, which is a natural medicine, and everybody needs to be free to use it as and when they see fit. Okay? In fact, we need to remove criminalisation of all drugs, and instead an offence would be You know, perhaps if people commit crimes under the influence of drugs, then they pay double the penalty for that, maybe. You know, because we need to learn the way to go about living on a planet that does produce, naturally, mind-altering substances. The way to go about dealing with that is not to ban it and fund a criminal underworld and keep police activities focused on criminals. Instead, we need more police attention focused on protecting our children, please. Okay? And protecting the vulnerable of society from abuse. Like, for example, women who are being systematically abused in their homes every single day. And the police aren't doing anything about it. But if somebody phones up and says, oh, I've seen a bag of heroin in this house and needles, oh, bang, they'll be there straight away. To protect who? A drug addict from using drugs? And the thing is that an abusive world that's running outside of universal law, that's running off its own egotistical criminal maritime law, is going to create the type of consciousness which large portions of it at any given time are going to find themselves relying on addictive substances, particularly alcohol, or even tobacco and other drugs. That's the fact of it. Okay? The pharmaceutical industry itself is producing drugs which people are becoming dependent on those. You know, which is worse? Being dependent on a pharmaceutical drug or being dependent on a natural drug? Who knows? We know for a fact that some of these people who are alleged to have committed crimes of mass shootings and what have you in the public have themselves been on pharmaceutical drugs. But, you know, these things are pluses. The alternatives, the solutions, they are there. You will not understand the importance of the solutions unless you understand the full degree of the problem. And that means, you know, reaching out and, say, for example, holding a little Hans child, empathising with an abused child, thinking about what that abused child has had to genuinely experience for their life, their short life experience on our planet, what they've experienced of adults. To be strong enough, you know, because the truth is very heavy. Okay? The worst aspects of the truth are very heavy. And you've got to be strong. We need to get strong to be able to carry that truth in order to then pick up on the light of it and get with that light and start living lighter, so we don't have to deal with these heavy truths that we think we can just dump on children and leave them to grow up with the damages of it, and then ignore them and then judge them for being damaged, which is what has happened to me and countless people like me. So, you know, this is the light. This is the light of the truth. Okay? Ubuntu is the light of the truth. Ken O'Keefe, he wants to create he's got the One World Citizen initiative, you know, and again he's been attacked, he's been accused of, you know, swindling money from the public, absolute load of rubbish. Half of these people that are accusing him of swindling money, they are themselves constantly asking for money from the public, who, for doing what? Somebody like Richie Allen and David Icke. What do these people do for all the money that they're getting in subscriptions, or to join their newsletter, or you go and buy their book or listen to their radio and get on Patreon and go and donate them a regular monthly sum? For what? For telling you about the shite of the world and guiding you into what? Where are they guiding you? What guidance are they giving you? None whatsoever. They're making money out of shite, out of Babylon dregs. That's what they're feeding you, them dregs, and giving you no hope and no solutions, and they aren't supporting any solutions. Okay, now I'm explaining to people it's time we all started to getting together. I've been in touch with Michael Tellinger of the Ubuntu movement, who is also a friend, and Ken O'Keefe, you know, to say to him that, look, get in touch with Ken O'Keefe. I've been in touch with these now and said, look, get together with Michael Tellinger, get together with Ken O'Keefe, because we need to start coming together as a unity, because there's too many egos out there, and that's all I can see is one person fronting an organisation of whichever organisation, and it becomes an egotistical thing. I mean, I'm not saying Ken O'Keefe is of that ilk. I know that he isn't. I know that Michael Tellinger isn't. But there's a lot of other little egos out there, and I'm telling all of you, so-called truthers, is drop the ego shite and start getting together, start supporting things, start talking about what other people are doing, you know. Now, I've shared what I have to share. I'll leave my Supernatural or Not Yet video again, so you can listen to my experience and make your own mind up, okay? But what I experienced was real. I did witness universal light being. That's why I've got the courage and guts, being an absolute nobody, to get up here, to make my videos, to take the shit that's been thrown at me, to take the abuse and the slander and the libel, you know, to be me who survived 17 years child abuse, to be accused, to have people, liars, writing that I'm a paedophile, that I've abused children, that I've had children removed from my care. These are the kind of things been written about me. Why? Because I'm promoting these, you know, horror to paedophiles. So be horrified, paedophiles, because these are coming, okay? Because, like I say, over my dead body will the child abuser consciousness pass. You will not pass, okay? I will not allow one single paedophile, child abusing bastard to pass through, okay? That's how it is. I won't allow them to pass through. But this world does, because this world is a Broadway, you see. I'm a narrow gate. The world is a Broadway. So it's our choice, humanity. Which way do you want to go with? The Broadway. You want to go on the Broadway. Go and take your risks. Go and have your kids on the Broadway. Go and live on the Broadway. See who wins that race. Are you prepared to kill, steal, cheat, lie? Are you prepared to exploit people's weaknesses and disabilities? Are you prepared to be ignorant? Are you prepared to ignore universal law of abundance and compassion and the truth of our universal light being and your own reincarnation? Are you prepared to ignore this universe that created our planet and us on it? Are you prepared to ignore all that in order to reap your transitory, short-lived rewards of this world? Because you might live till, what? How long are you going to live? You could be dead tomorrow, for all you know. That's how quick life finishes. So you're prepared to give all that for what? To spend an eternity in the void? Because today is the day of the truth. And everybody in the West who's living in this world, who've got access to the internet, who've got access to knowledge, who can read and write, you've got no excuse for your ignorance. Okay? Because people are actively ignoring. And I know from the people around me who've all run away, scurried away, asked them for a little bit of support on the issue of child protection directives, scurry away. Talk to them about this, scurry away. Talk to them about Ubuntu, scurry away. Ken O'Keefe, scurry away. 9/11, scurry away. No, actually, we'll accept the official story. So, what? You prefer to accept a pack of lies over the laws of physics, because that's where we're at today. That is basically what we're being asked to accept. A pack of lies or the law of physics. The law of physics tells us 9/11 was an inside job. No two ways about it. Whether it was done with thermite, an energy weapon, personally I believe it was done with both. Because let's face it, they couldn't just use an energy weapon and turn the building to dust, could they? They had to make it look like it was collapsing. So yeah, thermite to give the impression of the collapse, energy weapon to dustify all the stuff that was falling. And we know that the stuff was justified because you've only got to look at the seismic graph, the seismic impact. It don't lie. That building did not hit ground in solid form. Neither of the buildings, neither of the trade centres, Building 7, none of them hit ground in their full material impact as it should have done, had they actually collapsed. We know thermite was used, you can see the squibs. That's the fact of it. So we're dealing with the consciousness that will bomb its own people, will blow them up, knowing that there's people in the offices, knowing that they're murdering people, because they are sadistic fuckers. Okay? And instead we've got a whole group of people balking at the word fuck. Really? What? While you're being fucked? While the children are being fucked? While our planet's being fucked? But anybody who mentions the word fuck is a blasphemer. There's a lot of good, positive things can be done, and they are not going to be done until people start waking up. And I am imploring with people to get real, to get with the truth. Okay? And everybody who believes that they can ignore the truth of our light being, well, you better go and tell the people that are studying quantum particle energy in the Hadron Collider Accelerator, you better go and tell them they're all mad. Because apparently, people who believe in quantum energy are mad. So you better go and tell them, what are they studying? And the absolute truth of it is that until this world accepts the reality of our light being, okay, that we are meant to be biological hosts for universal light being, the intelligence that created us, you know, like the butterfly that can mimic a flower. How can it do that if it wasn't created by intelligence? And no, I'm not of the creationist, intelligent design that believed the world was created, the earth was created in 6,000 years. No, I am not. But I do accept that an intelligence wrote our DNA. I do accept that life is intelligent, that life could not have evolved and adapted, okay, if it was not learning, if it was not consciously aware and intelligent enough to be able to survive. And we've been given free will because intelligence has to be our choice of our own free will. Okay? Because the universe does not want a slave. True intelligence will intelligently choose to live by universal law. It will support this. It will support Ubuntu. It will support Kenoki. It will stand by the truth of 9/11 and ask some serious questions and demand arrests. True intelligence understands that yes, we can forgive, but it does not mean that means we will leave people to put themselves and others at risk. It does not mean that certain people do not need right now to be arrested. People like Gordon Bowden, for example. Gordon Bowden, who's exposed the financial crimes of people like David Cameron, setting up fake AAA rated companies, using those to attract investments from people managing trust funds, pension funds, you know, very wealthy accounts, and they've drained them with their fake AAA rated companies that are supposed to be guaranteed to at least give you your money back. David Cameron's directly involved. Gordon Bowden, ex-RAF officer, he's got the evidence. Will the police prosecute him? No, they won't, because apparently it's too big to prosecute, like the bankers, like the MPs, the child abusing MPs, like the child abusing senior officials in every authority in Britain. Because let's face it, if they've been getting away with it for the decades and decades, to the extent it takes adult survivors to shop these evil bastards, then how many more like themselves have they been letting in the interim? How many more children have they abused? For every one person that comes forward to support historical child abuse, there's probably another 10, 20, 30 children abused by those same people who've never come forward. Especially if they're doing things like, you know, educational child psychology, or, you know, running a children's home. And people think that people think they can ignore this, that you can just go down to your shop and just carry on living, go to work, go to shop, go to bed, get up, go back to work, go back to the shops. What are you buying? Where does your coffee come from? Who picks your sugar? Do you care? Do you even care? Yeah, well, I need cheap sugar. Yeah, well, it's being picked by kids, and, you know, they're getting seriously injured. Some of them are dying. Yeah, well, that's got nothing to do with me, hasn't it? 80% of the world's resources are supporting 20% of the global population. That don't make sense. That's imbalance. That's insane. That is bad news. Our planet is at risk. It's being destroyed. You want to hear about jar love? Well, until this world starts expressing some of jar love, all you're going to get is jar wrath. Okay? Anger and grief and despair, because that's all this world is dishing out, with a few bits of handouts of charity here and there. We're all supposed to pat the backs of people like Bob Geldof. Millionaires, multi-millionaires, on the strength of what? On the strength of singing a song about a girl that shot her fellow pupils at school. You know, let's turn it into a #1 hit. It was disgusting, and I knew it was disgusting when I was 15 years old and I was listening to it, and I realised the truth of it, and I just thought, well, how sick to turn that into a #1 song. A girl who shot her went to school with a gun because she didn't like Mondays. That's the kind of fucked up world we're living in. And I've been aware of it since I was 13. I was there, you know, living in the battered wives squat, campaigning for a battered wives refuge, confronting my school, you know, for equal rights, confronting racism. All of these things I've been doing from a teenager. This is nothing new for me. Okay? Knowing what Thatcher was doing from my teens to my 20s, knowing exactly what she was doing, predicted everything that was going to happen, everything that was going to happen in this country. It has happened. We're now a corporate farm, Britain, with the Conservative Party hoping to turn us into a tax haven. Well, British people, go and have a look at how the native peoples of every tax haven are living, and do not think you will be living any better. Go and check the legislation out for the banking bailey and the building society bailey, and ask yourself, what have you got to lose? What can the banks take from you? And especially when you've got no human rights. Absolutely no human rights. Because they're scrapping them. Bill of Rights. Have you got money? you've got some rights. Have you got no money? No, you haven't got no rights. And, you know, I'm being asked to vote for Jeremy Corbyn. I mean, seriously, I don't think so. The guy's never spoke out for nothing. You know, I've never heard him once stand up and even mention child protection directives. Why should I vote for any MP that has never mentioned child protection directives? Why the fuck should I? Why should I? Why should I vote for any MP that has never stood up and asked a question about the Israel lobby? Why should I? So, you know, I've shared my light being experience, and as far as I'm concerned, I know more about Jah and Jesus, okay, than what the Archbishop of Canterbury does. So, who the fuck is he? Okay, because I've written to him, I've asked him for help and support to share the message of Jah love. Did he get back in touch with me? No, they didn't. They totally ignored me, and I've written to them repeatedly over the years. No, David Icke with his Kundalini experience in Peru after eating, what was it, cactus, peyote cactus. I never ate no drugs, I never took no peyote cactus, but I witnessed the light being. I received the message of abundance, the law, universal law of abundance in compassion, through an energy of bliss. I experienced that. I've had to live with it. I've paid the bloody price of it. I devoted my life to understanding, to sharing the truth. And I'm the one that's borne the brunt of the judgments. Yeah, David Icke got laughed at on, what was it, Terry Wogan. But look at him since. Oh, Wembley Arena, writing books. Well, why couldn't he give me an interview about my experience? Why couldn't he give me support to share my experience? Because all I want to do is just share the message. I'm not asking for money. I'm not asking for fame and fortune. I'm not asking for anything except for people to listen to me. And who's listening to me? Apparently, my biggest following are a load of pedo sadist child abuser trolls who enjoy disliking my videos and writing a load of negative comments and lies about me, to the extent I've had to disable comments on all my videos. Because it does have an impact on me. Because I have got complex PTSD. Because I am a CSA survivor. Oh, but apparently complex PTSD, that just means I'm mad. Well, wake up. Get real. Complex PTSD is a sane reaction to insane people. Okay? I could have become a psychopath. I could have become an abuser instead. But hey, don't give me no credit for surviving. Make me feel like, make me wish that my abusers had just killed me. Make me wish that instead, because that's where I'm left. I've got absolutely no support. People give me a wide berth. They think I'm crazy. Well, fuck the lot of you, okay? Because you are all fucked. Because you're living in a fucking world and you support fuckers, and you are ignorant fuckers. You have become exactly what they said you were. Ignorant. They judged you all ignorant on their false interpretation of the word ignorant, which I have explained. Okay? Educating Chumpsky on linguistics. Go and have a look at that video. Understand what they've done with the word ignorance, how they've misinterpreted it. Go and watch that. Listen to it. Understand the truth. But now the judgment has become real, has become a reality, because the people of the Western world, the so-called civilised, developed world, are ignorant fucking bastards, the lot of you. You're as ignorant as hell, okay? And the only reason why I'm still alive, because believe you me, I could have ended my life like that any fucking time, because I fucking hate this world. I really do. It's so evil. It's difficult. It's difficult. But I will stay alive. Okay? So if anything happens to me, know for sure that it isn't by my hand. Because I have stayed alive through hell. Why? Because I care about the children, and I will stay alive for as long as I can, till my dying breath. Those children get their rights. Because there is no future for humanity if we can't protect our children. And what kind of species ignores the rights of its children and sells them? Basically for money, because that's what's going on in it. We'll turn a blind eye. Oh no, I can't say anything. I might lose my job. Well, do you know what? I lost everything. I gave up everything to be able to sit here today, to talk the things that I'm saying, to talk about the light being. I had to give up everything. Even the respect of my own child, it got turned against me. Because apparently mummy's mad. She saw a person made out of light. It means she's mad. Really, does it? So what's the Queen doing with that fucking crown on her head then? Apparently put there by God. So it is up to people. You either get real, or this planet is fucked and it is screwed. And only the people who have stood up and spoken out and supported the positive solutions are going to pass through, okay, into the next realm of existence. Because the old is gone. The truth is known. The consciousness is aware. Consciousness knows it. There's no escaping the truth anymore. And those that die in the filth and lies today, the innocent shall be forgiven, but the guilty shall not. Okay? That's the way it is. You want to be forgiven, then you better say sorry. You better admit you've been living wrong. You better start trying to live right. You better start doing something to prove, make amends, atone. Otherwise, no forgiveness. Why should anybody be forgiven who's never said sorry? Why should anybody be forgiven who's never compensated, who's never tried to change, who's never helped anybody except themselves? Why should they be forgiven? They will not be forgiven. Okay? Forgiveness is for people who try to change, for people who wake up, who accept the truth. If you can't hold the truth, you can't be forgiven, because forgiveness is part of the truth. Oh, you suddenly want part of the truth now, do you? Now you want to be forgiven? Really? But you're not prepared to accept all the other truth? Why should you be forgiven? Only people who can accept the truth can be forgiven. Other people who can't accept the truth, if they're that mentally ill, if they've committed crimes and they've never been addressed or treated, you know, and that is the way to treat mental illness, is to find ways of helping somebody to understand the truth, reality, connect with reality. Some people do have mental brain disorders, brain dysfunctions. They're mentally ill, they're ill. Okay, they're a danger to themselves and others. It's not that the universe doesn't forgive them. Nobody can help having brain damage. Okay? But if they're prepared to lie and refuse treatment and hide from treatment and carry on abusing and hurting people, then they are a criminal and they shall not be forgiven. The ones who are identified, they need incarcerating. People who are accepting money on and committing crimes that lead to children dying through illegal wars and poisons in the food and the drinks and the sweets. None of them None of them shall be forgiven. Forgiveness is for the people who are prepared to accept we have done wrong. We would like to live better. Nobody's expecting people to be perfect. We're in the transitory stage. We all do what we can, even if it's only a little bit. But we do need, and for the professional people of the world, you do need to start investing. You need to do a turnaround, because we can't just end this money system, so it's got to go somewhere. I would say to everybody, you know, whatever money you can have spare, invest in silver. Every nation is going to need silver. Silver is a vital resource, because all this shit that's going on now, where they're going to so-called underdeveloped countries and exploiting them for their natural resources like silver, and it's all coming very cheap to us in the West, like our coffee and sugar and chocolate and whatever the fuck else people are buying, while the labourers and the growers are starving. Okay, while tea pickers are earning 75p a day. All of those things, it's going to end. You're not going to be able to buy silver that cheap. So I say to people, buy silver. Every nation is going to need its supply of silver for the new technology, for the new eco-technology. Absolutely vital. Gold, forget it. Dump it. Sell it back to the evil, twisted fuckers that sold it to you, who have overvalued it for centuries. Turned it into some sort of god. You know, oh, I've got lots of gold. I've got lots of weight. Lots of gravity. Lots of attention. Lots of attraction. Yeah, fuck off to hell with your gold. I follow light. I've got lots of universal golden light. I don't need your physical gold. It don't do nothing for me. We've got an abundance of gold on this planet for what we bloody need it for. It's used for so little. 80% of it is used as jewellery. I mean, for goodness sake. But what can you say? You can lead a horse to water, you can't make it drink. So, you know, as far as I'm concerned, like Bob Marley said, if you're not going to wake up, total destruction is the only solution. Destroy this planet completely. Because it is not worth a child staying alive. What for? To end up being born into an artificial womb? You know, go and look at my video, I'll leave you the link. Sci-fi humaniacs. That's what the world's heading to. Robotics. Growing children babies in an artificial womb. And that to a consciousness that can't even give our children born from living parents, living bodies, okay, cannot give them their child rights, and we think we're going to hand over the child creation to this set of paedophile bastards controlling our planet and producing this technology. For fuck's sake. You know, seriously, destroy the planet, Jar. Destroy it already. Turn it into a cinder. Start again. That's the only way. Because you people are never going to wake up. You'll eat and piss and drink yourself to the fucking death, won't you? You don't give a shit about anything. You people in the West who've had everything. Everything! While people are starving and dying. Well, what for? What? So you can destroy their planet? You've destroyed their Pacific Ocean. You're killing our planet. And all these native peoples who have had what? What? They can't even get an education. The children are being raped and sold and trafficked out of Africa. And you can't even do anything about it in Britain, the most civilised country in the world. And you fucking well sit back and do nothing. Yeah, it's no wonder everybody's running away from me. Fucking run away if you don't want to get burnt. But I tell you now, none of the good people, none of the innocent people get burnt by me. They are healed and they walk through that fire without getting burned. But there is a fire! And only the good people can survive it. And I've walked through it. Am I burnt? I face my crimes. I face how wrong I've lived. What's happened to me. I had to fucking face it. Am I burnt? Have I gone crazy? You people don't understand what passion is. And yes, I do feel more angry and passionate towards the people within my own sphere of so-called civilization in this world, because they're my home, aren't they? You're my family. And as far as I'm concerned, you've brought my home into disrepute with your crimes and your ignorance and your bastard fucking psychology. You think that you can ignore what's happening to children? You think you can ignore the illegal money system? Oh, just let them get on with it. Just let them get on with it. What? Get on with what? Destroying our whole planet? What the fuck? You know? I mean, as I say, when I was 13, to hear educated professional adults telling me to rebuild a relationship with a man who'd done nothing but abuse me in every way imaginable all my life. Rebuild? How can you rebuild a relationship with a man who's abused you from being a baby? You fuckers. You fucking evil bastards. And so I knew then. But I gave everybody the benefit of the doubt. I thought, no. When people realise the truth, they'll change, you know, they'll be outraged. It's like with America, with 9/11, people thought, oh, when the people realise the truth, they'll be outraged. They're not bothered! They're not bothered! All they're bothered about is where they're going to get the next fucking fix from, where they're going to get the next new dress, where they're going on holiday. Oh, my new house, my new baby. Why have you brought a baby into this world? It's got no rights! You better not suffer from postnatal depression. Somebody will come and take it off you. You're a future emotional risk. But you know, these are positive things. Ubuntu is a positive thing. What Ken O'Keefe's doing is a positive thing. But no, let's all attack Ken O'Keefe because he's outed, you know, some fucking truther who considers himself the leading light guru of humanity. Oh no, we found out in the 70s and 80s he was fucking at the height of child abuse. He was PR manager for the fucking Children of God bloody religion that was abusing children. And the adult survivors have come out and spoken out now. And Ken O'Keefe recognised, hey, this is that guy, Zen Gardener, calling himself now Zen Gardener. He was actually PR manager to that group, that pseudo-religious group, at the height of the abuse. He must have known something. Oh, suddenly, Ken O'Keefe, he's like, you know, oh, terrible person. Robbing the public. He's a fraudster. Really, is it? Who's the fraudster? Zen fucking Gardener. You're the fraudster. Changing your name. Posing as a fucking leading light of the truth movement. With people like Richie Allen and David Icke and fucking... Who is it? Max Egan. Or Max Egan. Whatever the fuck he calls himself. All bandying around him. And that fucking Ole Damgard. You can all fuck off. You absolutely disgust me. I wrote to you, Ole Damgard, about my experience of light being. Did you give me any support? Oh no. Oh no. Zen Gardner, ex-fucking PR manager for a child-abusing cult. Oh, he's wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Really. What's he done then for humanity? Has he got down? Has he got rehomed people? Has he protected people? Has he sorted out people's benefits for them and their legal claims? Has he cared for anybody? Has he devoted his life to caring for people? Fuck off, the lot of you. You can fuck off. I'm sick to death of hearing about these leading lights of the fucking truth movement. David Icke, what the fuck have you done for humanity, David Icke? How many people have you actually helped? Have you ever found a homeless person a home? Will you ever hear David Icke mention these? Will you mention these, David Icke? All the fucking money you've made out of the so-called truth. I've really had enough of the whole lot of this sick system. But like I say, I will keep standing, okay? And the people will either learn reality and get with their universal reality and pick up on the joy, because that's what austerity is on. It's an austerity on joy, and it always has been, and I've known it from being a child when my joy was cut out of my life and Mr. Policeman could not protect us. Oh, it's a domestic. When they see the marriage certificate. Daddy did this to me, Daddy did. Can you prove it? Have you got any proof? Fuck off. You can all fuck off. Asking a little child of 4 and 5 if they've got proof that they were sexually abused after they've described in graphic detail what's happened to them. You dirty fucking cunts. You know, and that is what this world is. A cunt. Because that's what it judged woman. A cunt. Woman's just a cunt, isn't she? To deliver the next generation to be fucked by cunts that call their mother cunt. So burn this cunt planet with its cunt people and its cunt psychology jar. Destroy. Total destruction is the only solution. Okay? And that's what you have all chosen. Because you refuse to support these. Okay? You refuse to support these people. And you refuse to support Michael Tellinger. You refuse to support Ken O'Keefe. You refuse to listen to the architects and engineers of 9/11. You refuse to accept the truth that we're being governed by psychopaths who have removed compassion, which is the head cornerstone of JAR law, universal law of abundance and compassion. They've removed that. It's a stumbling block. Anybody with compassion, you're going to trip over. If you try to get anywhere in this world, you're going to fall flat on your face on that stumbling block of compassion. Who's going to succeed? Who can just stride over it? Psychopaths and sadists and the criminally insane and the Stockholm Syndrome victims and the people who've just got gold, 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 physical gold on their mind. One objective. They can harden their hearts. As Ronald Bernard said, put your conscience in the deep freeze. -60 isn't enough. Do it at -100. Okay? Well, if that's where this world's conscience is, at -100, fuck off. You ain't even worth your paper that your name's written on. Disgusting heathen. Okay? And they do say that those who are judged, ill-judged, do end up becoming as they've been judged. Well, it's about time we woke up from that judgment and told the judges to fuck off. Okay? Because if you want to keep this planet, if you want to survive, if you want to give a better life for your children than an unrepayable debt off a load of bastard fucking criminals, but you're all happy. Oh, here you go. I've worked hard, me, to look after my children. Really, are you? You're working for debt. Your wages are paid out of debt. The company you're working for is in debt. Okay? Everything's debt. Your kids are going to be paying the interest off what you've spent on raising them today. Do you understand that? Do you understand it? Wake the fuck up. Don't ask me to vote for Jeremy Corbyn. Jeremy Corbyn, if you really care about this country, you will stand up and speak for child protection directives. You will ask questions about the Israel lobby. Who the fuck are they? They've got more power in this country. Okay? All the unions are gone. The trade unions, Transport Workers Union, the miners, the steel workers, all the big unions are gone. Where are they? Oh, but we've got the Israel lobby. Who the fuck are they? What the fuck are they doing in our country? Why have they got more power over the Labour Party than the British people? And you're all sat in Parliament, drawing in you fucking... How many wage rises have you bastards had while your constituents have been driven to fucking suicide and redundancy and homelessness, and they're all struggling, and the middle class wage is going to be what? The benefit level existence, basically, head just above the water. Fuck off! My granddad did not give his life for that. And how dare you even tolerate sitting in a parliament where the ruling government has pledged and promised to scrap our human rights? How dare any of you remain sitting in there? Why haven't you got up and stood up and said, you can fuck off, we're leaving, we are not participating in a parliament that has pledged to scrap human rights? You are a criminal organisation. You're a criminal government. You're a risk, a threat, a terrorist threat against the British people. You have pledged and promised to scrap their human rights. Simples. But oh no, instead we have to wait till Grenfell happens, don't we? Another giant snuff video for the fucking corporate pedo, sado, fascists governing our world. Freemasons, do your job. You know, you've got your police officers. Start using your power. Arrest the criminals of power. Because I tell you now, if you professional people of this world do not start pulling your socks up and getting your fucking acts together and start arresting the criminals, as I say, total destruction is the only solution. And no evil bastard shall pass through. Expect the void. Expect the eternal void forever, because none of you believed in the truth. None of you believed in the truth of your own heart. So why should any of you be forgiven? When you do know it, after you're dead. Oh, my body's dead, but I'm still conscious. I'm still here. Oh, really? Oh, really? So, we were right then, us mad people. As I say, you've got to be strong enough to carry the truth. The anger, the rage that I feel, okay, is balanced by the love that I feel for the children, by the love that I feel for the life on our planet, by the love that I feel for this universe. That's why I can express it and not go crazy and not go out bombing people or hitting people or hurting people. I can express this anger and turn around and be very nice to my cats, okay? I'm very nice to my neighbour. But I can express it and not be debilitated by it, because I'm strong enough to carry my human emotions. And this world is abusing. It's abusing my consciousness. It's abusing my emotions. You know, there's companies like this. Okay, Neek. Nice little company. Makes vegan lipsticks and a couple of products. I think they make about 6 products all together. Vegan, organic, fair trade, you know, everything. Buy your stuff from here. Stop buying shite from shitesters, exploiters. Look where you're spending your money, people. Mindscape Magazine, really good magazine. Online, no paper involved, cheap, a couple of quid, brilliant articles. Open your mind, expand your mind, start thinking, let some light in. I contribute regularly, donate my articles. I don't ask for any money. I live the same as everybody else in this world. I'm not speaking to you from a BBC platform and 100 grand a year salary. and leave rock bottom. Okay? There's lots of alternatives, and it is up to people to start getting with them and start supporting them. And as I say, you know, in England, I know we've got the bank, the Lawful Bank trying to set up, and the Bradbury Pound. Well, I suggest you Bradbury Pound and Lawful Bank people get together with these, the Bank of Joy, okay? The Bank of Joy. Contact them. It's time we start uniting cohesively, because there is no other way. As I say, we've got our choice. We either get together, we get organised, we get sane, we start establishing universal law, we accept the truth of our eternal quantum energy light being, move into the 21st century with 21st century knowledge, or stay stuck in the past and let the planet be totally destroyed, let Jar start all over again. But none of them good shall be harmed. Okay? There will always be a place for us in life in this universe. There will be a place for us in the quantum paradise. But for the shits that are responsible for it all, that are profiting from all of this, that have followed those evil so-called revelations written by Cerinthus, I'll leave the link again, revelations written by Cerinthus, who falsely accredited them to St. John the Apostle, who actually, St. John loathed Cerinthus as a deceiver of all mankind. The New World Order are following these revelations, are giving themselves rights to do certain things because it's ordained by God, apparently. Well, yes, there is truth in revelations because they are plagiarized from the original prophecies, from the original Testament. But the whole point of the prophecies that are telling us about bad things is to warn us so that those bad things don't happen. If I say, oh, if you put your hand in the fire, right, your skin's going to get all burnt and you're going to be in pain, you're going to be in agony. Is that a prophecy? No, it's because I know, and Jar know what's going to happen, and he warning people. Warning humanity. If you keep on with your lawlessness, your inhumanity to each other, this is how it's going to get. This is how bad it's going to be. Do we want it to get that bad? No. Actually, they're like the people of Nineveh who were prophesied. Jonah prophesied. He was asked to prophesy what was going to happen to those people. Did they all go, oh, the prophecy's coming true, as the worst of it started to happen? No, they didn't wait for the worst of it. They all got down on their knees and begged forgiveness and promised to change, and they did change, and they were forgiven, and the prophecy didn't happen. And Jonah was angry, and Jar said, well, why should I? They changed. But that evil Cerinthus, and we know he's an evil little bastard. We know it was an evil misogynist wrote it. Look who ends up with Jesus at the end. 144,000 pure males who have never defiled themselves with women. Really. Because Cerinthus was a misogynist fuckhead who supported Lucifer. Read it in Revelations. I am the bright and morning star. That's who he wants to win. That's who their evil revelations will put in power. Lucifer. That's who they worship. The Zionists, the fucking so-called Christian elites, the Muslim elites. That's who they all worship, is Lucifer. The bright and morning star. Okay, they're self-made, egotistical, gold-worshipping God-man, okay, who is actually a fantasy, a total fantasy that man has made up of himself, who he thinks he's got a right to deny women the rights, to call children minors, to make slaves of native peoples, to judge everybody who doesn't know anything ignorant, when actually, to be ignorant, you have to know something and ignore it. So the very opposite interpretation of ignorance is applied. Because once you've been judged ignorant under Jar law, you've got no rights. You're a heathen if you're ignorant of the truth and facts and the law. Once you understand it, to people who don't understand it, they're not ignorant, they're mystified. These people aren't mystified. That's why they've set up something. Ken O'Keefe, he's not mystified. He's not mystified. The people who've created Ubuntu are part of the Ubuntu movement. They're not mystified people. So it is up to you, humanity. I've shown the solutions. You either support them or die. Die in your ignorance, carry on getting robbed, expect to have nothing. Okay? Expect people of Britain to become, as the Tory party have promised, competitive with the workforces of Asia. Expect to be living in Victorian Britain with no human rights, no workers' rights, no unions, fuck all. Okay, except what will be social security. Yeah, the factory prison. Expect that. And then expect to be totally destroyed. Or placed by robots. Okay, because that's where it's heading. Okay, the artificial womb. Okay, so you know, you don't really need to be a mathematician to see where it's all going and the type of consciousness that is created and controls this technology and where they are going with it. If you can't see which way, if you can't feel which way the wind's blowing, then you're not really even alive, are you? And I'm wasting my breath even talking to you. Go and get pissed, or jack yourself up, or sniff your powders, or do whatever the fuck it is that you do to stay ignorant. And you know, in that sense, a lot of people on this planet today, they are useless fucking eaters, because they could not give a shit about anything. Okay, could not give a shit about anything. Could not even give a shit about their own children's rights. Okay, so what can I say? I'll leave it to you. I'll leave you the links. And you know, this is a video that I do advise everybody to watch. Everything is a rich man's trick. I'll leave the video there. If you don't know what's happening with the money supply, what's going on in the world, you want to know it all, this guy said it all. Hats off to him. Thank you very, very much. Please watch it. You know, I mean, by the time I watched it, I already understood most of it anyway. 25 years I've been trying to share the truth with people. Okay, I read a book in the 1980s that told me everything I needed to know about the money supply and how the gold standard is a false standard. But you know, learn, research, do the research, get educated, get strong in the truth, because you know the truth shall set us free. But as I say, if people aren't prepared to do that in these perilous times when our whole planet is on the brink of destruction, then what can I say? It will be total destruction. That is the only solution, isn't it? But what's it going to be? Is it going to be total destruction of our planet, or total destruction of their financial system and their power structures? It has to be. It's our choice. What do you want? Do you want to keep the planet? Give your children a future? Well, in that case, we are going to have to destroy the existing power structures. How are we going to do that? Can we do it with bombs and bullets? Or by all protesting? No, we bloody well can't. We do it by putting our money and our resources and our energy and time and interest into the positive alternatives. That is the way you stand against the system. You stand up for your rights. You support what is right. You do it with your physical body. You write to your MP and ask them why they've never mentioned these. Why aren't these being implemented? If you've got money, you're a professional person or whatever, you invest in this. You support, if you're an ordinary person on the street or whatever, you support Ken O'Keefe. You support Ubuntu. You write to you, if you support the Labour Party, you insist that the Labour Party is supporting what you're supporting, that the Labour Party supports this, that the Labour Party is supporting these, that the Labour Party is supporting the truth of 9/11, because I'm sorry world, we're not going to accept a truth, so-called, an official story that depends on denying the laws of physics and denying our universal law of abundance in compassion. So, you know, all I can say is thank you for listening. Those who I know have survived the fire of my speech, okay, the passion, that's because those people know what's going on. They're genuine good people. They are trying to do something. They are trying to help. And I ask you, I hope you've taken strength, and that you've taken strength from my faith, okay, the honesty of my understanding, and the fact that I have survived a lot more than what Jeremy Corbyn could even fucking imagine. God bless.